But I guess the thing I'm interested to find out, like knowing how important purpose is, should that change the way we're sourcing salespeople, or the way we're hiring salespeople? Because maybe like, we should be hiring people that are maybe not a fan of our company, but a fan of like what we're doing. Like they're very interested and have a lot of belief in what we're selling. Do you kind of change how you're hiring people in that way?
I think you got to change how you hire, but you got to change how you manage. So we're seeing this pushback that says, yeah, but we're hiring millennials and they have this unrealistic expectations. And I'm going, no, they just want a level of autonomy, purpose, and mastery in the work they do. And unless you can connect them to that, they don't engage. And the reality is every human wants that. It's just that millennials expect it. Right. So there's a expectation of that. So you've hit it so perfectly well. Are we managing our talent in terms of, do I have raving fans inside my sales team? Do I have people that have this conviction that drives them? And then how do I coach and elevate their performance and success? But we tend to think that it's just an art. You're born with it. We hire them, and good salespeople make it happen. But the reality is, once you're connected to a purpose, even mediocre people can sell the hell out of anything that they believe in. And I think that's a rethink of the organization. And Jeremy, not to go too far off piece here, but there's data that supports this. So when there's a research done by Consalia, and what they found was when you ask companies why they don't buy, 90% of the time they don't like the salesperson. And the reasons have nothing to do with competency. They're arrogant, they're overly confident, they're supply-centric, they don't understand my needs. It's all meaning-based things. It's all about how they show up. It's all about characters. So why aren't we developing character traits? Why do we think we can just build competency? And that's why we work so close with sales managers. Unless I change the person responsible for the sales soil, I'm going to be putting in all the right seeds, but they're going to die. Because the environment is too metric driven, too quarterly driven, and those should be ands. Yes, we have to have those metrics, but they take care of themselves generally when we get those things right, the right characters, the right conviction. Then I've got a sales force, not a sales team.
So let me ask you this. So I look back to my early 20s, and I know I may not look like it, but I'm actually closing in on 40. Looking at my early 20s, I had stopped teaching around 22 or 24 because I was doing it. It wasn't what I thought it was going to be. So I went into selling life insurance. And I was actually really good at it because I thought people really needed this. I really wanted to help them. I had the worst sales manager you can ever have at a job. He would line all those insurance people up once a week and scream at us about why we were costing him his job and why we weren't helping him. And I think that a big part of good salespeople is also the right kind of management. And I guess how should we be approaching sales management so we're more successful?
Well, I think the challenge we have right now, and we see this in so many areas of the world, but this overly focused view of just the results at the cost of everything else. And we can cite 50 million books on why this is a problem. But the way I see it is, if I take any organization I work with, Jeremy, and I say to him, who was your top performing sales manager last year? Who won sales manager of the year? It's going to be based on one thing, the number. Now, please tell me, if you're operating in a dense territory like New York, how do I, as Alan, operating in an area like Utah, outperform you in terms of numbers? I can't. So the reality is you're only measuring one thing, you're only rewarding one thing, it's the numbers. But the job of a sales manager has 4 pillars. I have to get the number, yes, but I have to do that by executing the strategy through my people, not for my people, to drive customer value. And let's flip that. My job as a sales manager is to drive customer value through my salespeople by executing the strategy so that I can get the number. When organizations only focus on the number, it's when the Enrons of the world happen, right? It's when these things occur. So a sales manager has got to be building an environment that says, I nurture my people to create value for customers that align to where we're going as a business so that we get the number. And I can cite data point after data point after data point. I never understand why this common sense is not common practice. Any leader who's done an MBA knows that when you take care of those things, the numbers take care of themselves. But instead, we manipulate Excel spreadsheets. We become pivot table engineers. We do the things that make us feel in control at the cost of things that actually put us in control. And that's what a good manager is. So for me, the ideal world is when the sales manager of the year is the person who developed their people the most, that allowed them to create massive value for their customers, that was aligned to where we're going as an organization, and I achieved my target. Even if my target in Utah is 1/10 of your target in New York City, I'm still a great sales manager.